I'll start with a question that goes all the way back to your childhood. And can you think of anything in your childhood that was maybe a precursor?
What does that mean?
Precursor is like the seed of something that develops later.
No problem.
Okay, so if you can tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. The first thing was when I was really, really very small. I my family were in a place outside of Oslo in the summertime, and my father used to come visiting every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's called with a daddy boat, with all the dads, you know.
Yes.
And I was meeting him at a boat, and also with my mother. And we went together back into the summer place. And I hold his bag, and my father hold my mother, and he hold his bag, and I hold his bag together with him.
Yeah.
And we were going there together. I think I must have been 4 or something. And in that moment, I recognize that love is all. And not as an outside thing, but to be love is all. And then at 5, I was same place, playing under some trees, and with some flowers. And I was looking up at the trees, and there was a light coming through the branches of the tree, and this sense of oneness and union with all life was crucial. And that kind of light, in a way without words, because this is only impulses, said that I had to be true to myself in order to become what I'm supposed to be. And in the same instant, this is not something, people think about 5-year-old as a 5-year-old. But when these kind of things happen to a small child, that child isn't a child anymore. So in that moment, path appeared. I knew what path were. I knew everything about reflection and being true and discrimination. So since that time, my life has been from moment to moment.
My friend had arranged a meeting with me and Vigdis in his flat. So yeah, Vigdis was coming, he was leaving, so I was in the flat alone basically when she came. He was in a block of flats. So I remember, she rang the bell, she came up the stairs, and I came to greet her in the stairs, and then our eyes met. Mm-hmm. And in that instant, I knew I was done. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I knew that. Now I'm finished. Of course, I don't know how that is, but that's just a metaphor I sometimes use, when an animal sees the butcher. Mm-hmm. That's how I felt.
For me, when I met her first time, I felt that I have never met a person that was a Zen master to that degree as she was. Also the way she acts, the way her sharpness, her humor, everything was very Zen-like and very natural. So it fitted very well into my way of studying Aikido.
Well, that's an interesting, to say that she is expressing the essence of Zen without having any of the cultural background of that.
I think so. For all I know about Zen, this is the way Zen is supposed to be completely natural. And not be too fixed with the forms. You come in the room, you bow this, you turn left, so she doesn't have anything of that. She doesn't even meditate, but she's sharp like a razor blade and very direct and very spontaneous.
So I agree with Amir that the first one seems, okay, that's a pretty big thing, but that you put the emphasis on.
Oh,
Like
the second one. Yeah,
yeah.
because when we're talking about the death of one kind of consciousness,
Yeah, that's where that happens.
that's where death happens.
Yeah.
Because then it's the person dies.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and then we talk about the eternal now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
And the other one is connected to time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And what is quite amazing, I must say, is, and I'm saying this, that's quite amazing for me, know,
Yeah.
because the girl never knew.
We sat down, we started to speak, and I don't remember anything from a few hours of talking. But then I was going to make lunch for us, and she followed me into the kitchen, and those eyes that just saw straight through me. I was so self-conscious and so uncomfortable, and the more uncomfortable I became, the more rigid and humble I became, So I stood there in the kitchen and we talked, and somehow I did this motion, standing like this. And then she jumped at me, and this is a person I didn't know, She just jumped at me and she took my hands and she just, with quite forceful, just ripped them apart. And she pointed up to my shoulders.
Yeah.
And she said, "When you have shoulders like that, you can't stand like this." And it was done. I knew I couldn't be a monk anymore. So I called the monastery the day after. I said, I'm not coming back. This is it. So that was the first meeting. So and it was this. In that moment, it was this incredible joy of being seen. I knew I was seen to my core. And I think that's when I could just, I don't need to hold all this anymore.
Like, it's impossible to really grasp, but there is this wonder before straight in front of your eyes, happening now, and you can sit just observing it, seeing it, and it's just wonderful. So of course I love her, and I can't describe how important I feel she is.
What's your relationship with her now?
I mean, she is my dearest friend, I would say. It's I want to cry, when you ask me that question. It's because now I feel I don't need her anymore, to live my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say she's still my teacher, but that is in a way finished. So now it's just a beautiful friendship, so I think we love being together, because we have that dialogue, with or without words. That is just very beautiful.